Hey guys, and welcome to Film Artsy, your #1 source for all things films and movies. And Avengers Endgame is finally available for you to purchase on digital or on Blu-ray. And with that, there's been a ton of really interesting things that have been released so far that have given us so much more insight into Avengers Endgame. So we thought today it'd be really interesting to take a look at some of the deleted scenes and behind the scenes stuff that we've never really seen for Endgame so far, and kind of react and talk about some of these crazy things that didn't quite make the cut into Endgame, and there's even some more stuff beyond that we're going to talk about in this video. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this video.
Agent Romanoff, you miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Jackman, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
So when we're looking at the deleted scenes for Avengers Endgame, one of the first ones that was actually cut was a little bit of an interaction between Tony and Pepper in the kitchen. And it's kind of a fun scene, but I think it really underlines their chemistry and is almost a callback to the earlier Iron Man movies, where you can see that chemistry between the characters, where Pepper didn't really have as much of a chance to have that chemistry with Tony in this movie. It does show that that chemistry was there, but they just didn't really have the time to fit it in the full release. So here's the clip.
These aren't Gojis?
They are not.
What's wrong with ours?
Your alpaca ate them all.
Oh.
All of them.
What a glowing endorsement. First of all, Gerald is our alpaca.
It's not my alpaca if he's eating my gojis.
Okay, they're gonna be nice in the salad, I think,
No,
right?
don't. Could you put it down? Get out of my kitchen.
Okay. Whoops. We're good here, right?
Yeah, we're great.
Next, we have a really short clip of Rhodey and Steve Rogers talking about the events of Captain America 1 and the bomb that was on board. And honestly, I wish this one made it in just because I think it is so iconic and funny, but maybe they cut it because they didn't want it to downplay Captain America's sacrifice in the first film, especially with how this movie comes full circle. But still, it's a great little scene. Here's the clip.
And what happened to the Tesseract after that?
It's bottom of the ocean. Fell out of the plane after I had to crash it.
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask, why did you have to crash the plane anyway?
There's bombs on board.
Bombs on board. And you couldn't have jumped out of the plane before you crashed it?
Then we have kind of an extended version of Thor, and I guess an early CGI version of Rocket when they're in Asgard after the time traveling sequence in Avengers Endgame, and they're kind of just talking about just the hardship of Thor being in Asgard again. This is obviously kind of an extension of what we actually saw in the film, and they probably just cut it out to make the scene not drag on too long, but it's still pretty interesting and fun to watch. Here's that clip.
Do you know, and I saw all these people die. So this is a little bit difficult for me, okay? So why don't you reach down deep inside and try and find a small ounce of humanity? Just give me the thingy. Just give me the thing. Just give me the thing. I didn't even want to come here. Living all these repressed memories. God, get it together. You're embarrassing.
Then we have another clip of Tony Stark and Howard Stark when they're walking out, and Howard actually even offers Tony a job. Here is that clip up next.
I get it. It's nutty. It's crazy making because you start worrying about a legacy. You know, you want to leave him a better world, and then you realize you haven't done all that much to give him one.
What's your name again?
Potts.
Potts.
Yeah.
You want to come work for me, Potts?
I'm a little tied up in futures right now.
Then we have this scene from the death scene of Tony Stark, and they actually had filmed all of the cast members who were fighting taking a knee in honor of Tony Stark. Now we have a theory around this one, is that they probably cut this scene out just because the funeral scene kind of served as that respect in the same way, and the funeral scene allowed for more characters to be there rather than just the ones on the actual battlefield and in the vicinity who could see it. So this was probably the first take they filmed it, just in case they couldn't get everyone together for the funeral scene. But ultimately, while this scene is really awesome, I think the funeral scene captures the same emotion in maybe a larger scope. Then we have this short clip where the producers and directors of Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame discuss what they do with fake scripts and why fake scripts are made. Here is the clip of them talking about that.
It was founded right in that age of film blogging. There were movie internet sites popping up everywhere, and you were nervous that somebody had access to something or somebody might leak something. So you want to prevent spoilers.
There's some pretty rabid fans out there that would be dying to get their hands on these scripts. So I'm able to essentially see my portion of the movie, but not read the whole script.
I didn't read a script.
I have not read.
I haven't really read.
I have not read the entire script.
Then we kind of go into more territory where they take some time to kind of talk about what the purpose of them making these alternate versions of the scripts and the intentions of kind of hiding the scripts to make sure that nothing important in the Marvel Cinematic Universe gets out, because some of these spoilers would be really heavy if they leaked and would actually ruin a lot of the integrity of the films. So they really put a large emphasis on kind of hiding some things behind other plot lines and whatnot, and they kind of go into detail on that a little bit in this next clip.
We started implementing this procedure where we would label each of our scripts, meaning code red version was the real actual script. And then we went with a fake version, which is called the code blue version.
And it's not radically different. I think this has developed a mythology that there were radically different scripts. They weren't really. We just went through and changed a few key things.
Then what was really cool is also in this sequence, they decided to actually take some of these fake scripts and animate them to show off what it would have been like had they decided to go down the route of what they put in the fake script. There was never any actual intentions of filming these scenes. They're not really alternate scenes, but they're kind of a recreation of what it would have been like had the movies actually taken the course of what happened in the fake scripts. This is also really cool because in this next clip, it's actually going to look at Loki's trick. It actually kind of shows us potentially an art style, or maybe this is kind of a concept pilot as to what the new Disney Plus show What If will look like, since it's going to be an animated show showing what if scenarios from the MCU. So this is kind of cool as a concept here, but also we get to kind of see these alternate versions of Infinity War and Endgame. So that being said, let's look at this one that starts off from Loki's death sequence in the beginning of Avengers Infinity War and what would have happened had they followed the fake version of the script.
Good luck, brother. The sun will shine again.
Shall we pursue him?
No need. We have all we need.
Similarly to Loki's death, they also had written in Gamora in that way, where it would appear that things maybe aren't as obvious as what actually happened in the sacrifice that happened to Gamora, and the emphasis of that as they just kind of be like, nah, deaths don't happen in the fake scripts. They kind of keep them closed off a little bit. So here's the clip of Gamora and Thanos after Thanos obtains the Soul Stone.
Thanos of Titan. The soul of the universe is yours to hold.
Next, we have another similar clip where Vision dies, and it's kind of this interesting interaction between Wanda and Vision and Thanos getting the stone, and it plays very interestingly in this animated sequence. So here is that clip.
Wanda Maximoff, how may I be of assistance today?
And then finally, this one's actually really interesting because it comes out of Avengers Endgame, but it's the sequence where Thanos gets killed the first time in Avengers Endgame, But instead, when they wrote out the fake script, that didn't actually happen. He was just knocked out, and you kind of see how they would have done it. It's a little goofy if you think about it and you look at it in the animated form, but still, it's interesting to look at nonetheless. Here's that clip.
Thank you, daughter. Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
And then finally, we also have this really awesome sequence they showed us paying respect to Stan Lee, the legendary person who made the MCU what it was in the first place. He actually passed away recently, and people are still kind of mourning that, as he only passed away earlier this year. And with that, they really showed some really great moments behind the scenes with him, and just some shots of him, even from Captain Marvel, which was probably the last film he filmed his Easter egg appearance for. So with that, we wanted to kind of close off on that note. We're not going to show the whole compilation, but here are some of the best clips from that sequence they showed off.
Trust me, true believer. Not only did I not think I would be doing a cameo in such a big movie, I never dreamt there'd be such a big movie. In those days, I was writing those books. I was hoping they'd sell, so I wouldn't lose my job and I could keep paying the rent. All of a sudden, these characters have become world famous. They're the subject of blockbuster movies, and I'm lucky enough to get little cameos in them.
Alright guys, that is it for today. If you love Avengers, Endgame, and all things related to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, be sure to subscribe to Film Artsy for more videos just like this. Also, make sure you pick up Avengers Endgame on digital and Blu-ray so you can see some of these sequences and even more sequences on your own, plus having that movie available to watch anywhere. It's pretty awesome. But anyways guys, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all next time with a brand new video. Bye guys.
Talking?
I'm about to.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Hi.
See you guys.